Hey guys, sorry we missed you today, but here's a little recap of exactly what we went over in class. The first thing we started talking about is about symbols, right? And so symbolism is about that symbol. It's something concrete. So it's something concrete means something you can touch, like a notebook or like a phone. It's something you can actually touch and hold and feel. Symbolism is when that concrete thing that you can touch represents something abstract. Abstract means something that you can't touch and hold and feel, but it's like an idea or like an emotion, like maybe like freedom or sadness. So symbolism is when something concrete represents something that's abstract, right? So in Dreams, when we read the Langston Hughes poems Dreams, he talked about life without dreams being a barren field covered with snow. Now, snow is something you can feel. It's something you can touch. It's cold. It's wet. And it can kill you if you can't find shelter. Now, in the poem, that concrete thing of snow represents what it's like to be life without dreams, so like isolated or without warmth or affection. And you know what? Hey, if you can't find shelter, maybe it can kill you. So let's think for a minute about symbols. What are some common symbols you know? What do they stand for? Here's an example that we could think of a common one, right? It could be like the American flag. That's something you can actually touch, right? And maybe that American flag represents freedom. So what you need to do this year is you need to figure out what kind of strategies the author is using to be able to connect with you. And one of those strategies is symbolism. So let's kind of take a look at that strategy, that technique. So one way we do that is we reread a text and we annotate. Annotate is just a fancy word for jotting down quick notes on the thing we're reading as we're reading it. So we could do this by rereading with your mind wide open. And so when we reread, remember, rereading means you've already read the text once. So now that you've already read it once and you understand the plot and what's happening, now you can read it again and be looking for all those tiny little details that you didn't catch the first time. And you want to consider thinking about a strategy while you're rereading. Maybe you're looking for rereading about setting. Maybe you're looking like we will this time about symbols. Maybe you're looking about imagery, right? But you want to have a pen or pencil in your hand, something to be able to be writing with while you're reading so it can kind of capture your thoughts and ideas. It's kind of your first draft thinking, right? You want to be kind of capturing what you're thinking about. So I want you to watch how I annotate the first two paragraphs of Langston Hughes' Thank You, Ma'am, as I'm kind of jotting notes to myself as I read. So let me show you. She was a large woman with a large purse. Man, we keep on talking about large. I wonder why. I'm just going to circle it. That had everything in it but hammer and nails. Okay, so there's a lot in this purse, all right? It had a long strap, and she carried it slung across her shoulder. It was about 11 o'clock at night, and she was walking alone when a boy ran up behind her and tried to snatch her purse. There's that purse thing again. The strap broke with the single tug the boy gave it from behind, but the boy's weight and the weight of the purse, there's that purse again. It's heavy. There's a lot in it. Combined caused him to lose his balance. So instead of taking off full blast that he had hoped, the boy fell on his back on the sidewalk and his legs flew up. The large woman simply turned around and kicked him right square in the blue jean sitter. Then she reached down, picked the boy up by his shirt front, and shook him until his teeth rattled. After that, the woman said, "Pick up my pocketbook, boy, and give it here." There's that pocketbook again. It's the purse. She still held him, but she bent down enough to permit him to stoop and pick up her purse. Oh, so okay, that's what's happening. Then she said, "Now ain't you ashamed of yourself?" Now, if you notice, I actually went through and I annotated quite a bit of things about this purse that was going on, right? So now that I've kind of circled some things that were kind of capturing my attention, I want to make sure I jot myself a quick little note, right? So I said, like, this purse is repeated over and over. Also, it's large. Emphasis on the weight of the purse. Why? She makes him pick it up instead of herself picking it up. It's her purse. Why is she doing that? It seems like the purse matters. So if you notice, one of the things about the amount of annotating I'm doing and the type of writing that I'm doing, I'm circling things that kind of grab and capture my attention. And I'm jotting just maybe a quick note once every other paragraph, just in incomplete sentences, just like scribbling to myself. It doesn't matter if anybody else makes sense of it. Just of kind of what I'm thinking. All I'm trying to do when I write notes is I'm trying to capture my thinking down as I go, my questions and my wonderings. So here's how we want you to do this work, right? So you need to reread. You've already read it once. Reread it again with a pen or pencil in hand, and you're looking for objects. You're looking for those tangible things. And as you find them, circle them, underline, make brief comments about what you're noticing. Now, when it comes to symbols, animals can be okay. People are not symbols. Can't do people, right? So think if you're like, why is that thing even there? It might be a symbol. And if you're like, this same object or thing keeps on coming up again and again, it might be a symbol, right? So when you find an object that you think matters, we want you to think about this. Number one, what are the real life qualities of that object, the real thing? What might those real life qualities stand for? And how does that relate to the important messages of the text? So now let's go ahead and try this with the purse, right? Because this purse keeps on coming up. So, what are some real life qualities of that purse, that real thing? Well, it's designed to hold things maybe a lot. It's got different straps and things so it can be kind of held in different ways. So not only is it versatile, it's utilitarian. And it looks pretty. Like, I wonder if this is like designer. And if it is, I wonder if that shows it's kind of fancy. And then we want to be thinking, what are the real life qualities? What could they stand for? Well, maybe the fact that it's versatile means that it could be something about this can be representing many other things. Or the fact it's utilitarian means it can stand in for a lot of other ideas. Or the fact that it's maybe designer could represent the fact that it represents the finest or the nicest things that only some people have. So how does that relate to the important themes of the text? Well, maybe this comes back into that the fancy things really aren't necessarily in money. Maybe it's in gratitude. Not everybody has that. Maybe in utilitarian, that like it can represent all these different things. Maybe that's like the role of a mother and somebody who's not even your biological mom, but she can represent all these different parts of your life that you need. Somebody to give you guidance, somebody to give you discipline, somebody to go ahead and give you love. And that's all that Miss Willa Bates Jones does. So now it's your turn. You try. And what we want you to do is this. Take out your English packet of short stories that you picked up on Picture Day, or if you weren't there and didn't get it, no biggie. Just go to our Schoology page, click on the text link. That'll bring you to a list of all the stories you've read, and go ahead and click on Thank You, ma'am. Here we go. So, reread and then circle or make notes about any kind of objects that you're seeing that keep on coming up or you're wondering why they're there, and kind of jot down, so what are some notes about their real world characteristics and what might those real world characteristics represent? I'm going to let you hit pause on this video so you can actually do this work with us. So now let's see how we're actually going to write about symbolism, right? We're going to do our second writing long. So the first thing you have to do is reread. Go back and reread. Thank you, ma'am. It'll take you at most 10 minutes, or maybe the part of your story if you're doing above and beyond that you want to take a look at. And then you want to annotate first. You annotate before you even open up your assignment. So circle things you might think might be symbols, jot notes to yourself before you even open up the writing long assignment. Then go to Schoology, click on our green FW number 1 folder, open up your writing long that you didn't turn in, click on My Document to view your work, and then scroll down to actually take a look here at writing long number 2. Remember, writing long number 2 is going to be about symbolism and how symbolism connects to theme. So of course, you've already chosen a passage from your text, you've already reread, and you've already annotated, right? Yeah, you annotated. Good. Now we want you to go ahead and now write long about how those symbols represent theme. Here's an easy way to do this. Think about one of the symbols you have, for example, the purse, and be thinking, what are some themes this could represent? Remember, if you need a list of universal themes, click on that link. This will most certainly help you here. Then, in the box below, this box, write long about how some of those symbols represented possible themes. Here's an example. Maybe my first paragraph, because you're going to write at least 2, maybe my first paragraph might be all about the purse. And maybe I might say, when I was reading Thank You, ma'am, I noticed that one of the possible symbols in the story could have been the purse. I think this purse could have represented this, or this, but I think it kind of tied into one of these themes, even perhaps motherhood. This is when sentence starters are your friends. Go in depth to give us examples or what you noticed, or speculate, go deeper about maybe what the author intended or some ideas about maybe why it is there. Don't forget, we want to try and shoot for 2 paragraphs. So after one whole paragraph about that one symbol and how that one symbol could tie to a theme, maybe it's time for another paragraph to be about another symbol and about how that second symbol ties to a different theme. Once you're finished and your work in both boxes are complete, click Submit. And remember, this is a 100-point mastery grade, so you want to make it count. If you want to know how to get a good grade on this, you have a rubric. At the bottom of your page, scroll down and you can see what will get you 100, a 90, a 70, or a 60. So that's it. Work on your writing long. We're going to take the theme assessment after this, and if you have questions, as always, email me. Good luck, guys.